Truthfully, to this point, I still think that the Fimi Pocket has enough pros over the Osmo Pocket, especially with the addition of 24 FPS right now, that it is a better buy as far as value goes if you don't need 60 FPS in 4K and you don't need really nice, sharp, slow motion footage. Well, here we are again, and it's actually funny, I stopped myself a second ago because I actually found myself, I was about to say, in stark contrast to what I'm used to, which is exactly how I started the last video here, in real stark contrast to what I'm used to. I thought I'd choose the same scene I picked last time so you could actually see what 24 FPS is. I've been continuing to use and try out the Fimi Pocket just to see how much I liked it and see if my opinion on it has changed or developed over time. Let me just give you some quick thoughts before we jump into the cinematic portion of this. One of the things that I thought would be a concern or a con compared to the Osmo Pocket would be the lack of support and updates with it, and I thought it would be far less frequent compared to DJI supporting their Osmo Pocket. I didn't think we'd get a lot of software upgrades with this device. Shortly after putting out that last video, a lot of you informed me via the comments that there was actually a firmware upgrade that came out shortly after I published that video. That upgrade gave us 24 FPS, which is obviously what we're here doing today. I was saying, I wish the Fimi Pocket had, as I thought that was a basic feature that you'd expect with most cameras, especially like I was saying, if you shoot 24 FPS primarily for most of your videos like I do, then you would want to match up your footage to your primary camera. So if you have a DSLR or whatever you use for your primary A camera and you want to match the footage of this to that more easily, then it would be a big help if you have the same frame rate. You might not think that the difference between 30 and 24 is that big a deal, and it's not really, but it kind of gives you that more cinematic feel. And again, that's one of the primary things that I like to do on my channel here, so it's great to see that they've since included it. So as far as settings go, this entire video is going to be shot in 4K 24 FPS in the flat picture profile, and then we're going to be color grading it. And now let's get to the actual cinematic. So that'll give you a good idea as far as how 24 FPS looks on this with the flat picture profile enabled. Some of the different shots that you can achieve using this, again, just completely handheld. But my objective with this is to show you that you can get really nice quality footage out of this little $200 camera. You don't need the Osmo Pocket, and you don't need a DSLR to achieve really nice cinematic shots, for the most part, if you're trying to capture something like this. That said, of course, this still does have a few faults. As I've continued to use this, here are some of my thoughts, my continued thoughts, based on my previous review and update that I want to add to the previous review as I continue to delve into this product and learn more about it. I still find the joystick to be slow in terms of its speed and turning the gimbal camera around, and I'm not sure if there's a setting that allows you to switch it around faster. One thing that was nice on the Osmo Pocket was I think you could double tap on the screen and it would flip it around, so between me shooting myself and me turning it around like that, by me turning it around I'm not able to see the screen, and so I don't really know what's in frame. The other thing I'll say, a couple of you had mentioned this, but with regards to the field of view, this 128 not being a big deal, it's just different compared to the Osmo Pocket's 80. Look at my framing here. My entire head is in frame, and you have a good amount of background, and the difference between my face to here is maybe a foot. In contrast, if we were on the Osmo Pocket right now, it would almost be like that. So this is not as nice. You'd really have to extend your arm out. So the ability for me to just really pull my arm out, this is my arm fully extended, and get all this in frame, makes it a far easier camera to film yourself on. If I want to hold this comfortably and have my shoulder pressed into my body like that, as opposed to having to hold my arm out and keep it extended for a prolonged period of time, I don't have to do that with this. With the Osmo Pocket I do. I'm going in and out of high contrast scenes here between dark shadows and bright sunlit areas, and you can see it holds up really well. I really like the color reproduction on this. I haven't had any real disappointments on this. I've been pretty satisfied. The Osmo Pocket, and I know there's the newly released V Pocket or V Palm or whatever, which is also supposed to be like a competitor to the Osmo Pocket and this now. I've been seeing some initial comparisons and reviews on that product, also priced around the $300 mark. The colors on that did not look as good compared to both this and the Osmo Pocket. Likewise, the stabilization didn't seem nearly as good. Truthfully, to this point, I still think that the Fimi Pocket has enough pros over the Osmo Pocket, especially with the addition of 24 FPS right now, that it is a better buy as far as value goes if you don't need 60 FPS in 4K and you don't need really nice, sharp, slow motion footage. So if you can get by that, this in my opinion is the better product. So you can go with this and I think you'll be pretty satisfied with it. With a lot of the points I've shared, the main takeaway is you can have these two different cameras, and while a lot of my opinions have leaned towards the Fimi Palm, I'm gonna hide in this little crevice here, hopefully it's a little quieter. The main takeaway I wanna give is you should be getting the camera, and this is something I wish I learned a little earlier, get the piece of gear that makes it easiest and most enticing for you to go out and film. The Osmo Pocket is great for a lot of people and might be the easier and better choice for them. So if that's the case, like I said, if you need 4K 60 or some other feature that the Osmo Pocket offers that this doesn't, don't settle for this, spend the extra money and get the Osmo Pocket. However, with myself and the opinions I think a lot of other people are gonna share is, the Fimi Palm makes it far easier to just go out and shoot because of its wide angle field of view, the built-in Wi-Fi, and I don't have to worry about bringing other accessories. I can't tell you how many times, even just yesterday, where I think I've packed everything up and I've double and triple checked, but I forgot one accessory which made it impossible to use the other gear. Take for example a tripod with a quick release plate. If I forgot that quick release plate, I can't use that tripod, so I just brought it for absolutely no reason. Likewise with the Osmo Pocket, if you're planning on getting wide angle shots, but you forgot the lens adapter accessory for it, well, you're not getting those shots and you can't get those shots. Same goes for if you're planning on controlling it wirelessly, but you forgot the wireless module for it, or just another area where your gear can fail. You've added another element that could fail or malfunction or just not work properly. It really hinders your experience and makes it far harder to shoot, like I'm saying. In my opinion, the Fimi Palm excels not so much in terms of its direct video or photo quality compared to the Osmo Pocket, because I think they're on par for the most part, but instead with its ease of use. Another important distinction between the two, and I can tell it's gonna rain here, that can either be a pro or con depending on your use and your needs, is its fixed focus. That means you're not gonna have to worry about focus hunting or something being out of focus as you did with the Osmo Pocket in certain situations. One of the cons I introduced with the Osmo Pocket, and one of the reasons I didn't like it, was its unreliable autofocus, and sometimes it would just pulse. It wouldn't make sense. You'd have a still subject, it could even be focused on a wall, and it would just randomly pulse. Possibly with newer software updates it has been fixed, or it's gotten a little better, and I think it has, but it was an issue. On the flip side though, when we were doing some of our more close-up shots, like for example if we want this light pole, or this I guess that's an electric pole, to be more of the focus, or my face even, that's more achievable with the Osmo Pocket. So I could bring it from here to here, and it would be more focused on my face, and we get that a better bokeh effect. And while it gives you more of that DSLR-like video quality that you'd expect from higher end cameras and lens setups, it wasn't good enough to offset the added inconvenience of relying on that autofocus system that I thought just really lacked. So I'm not able to get as close to my subjects with the Fimi Palm, and I'm not as easily able to create subject separation. To me, that's not as much of an issue for, again, the kind of shooting I do, because when I need that, I can whip out my camera, which I chances are have on me, and capture that shot. my use case with this all-in-one gimbal system is, again, to create videos like this. So my talking head portion of videos outdoors are more easily done with something like this, where it has the wide field of view, it's stabilized, and I'm easily able to capture shots without the need of additional accessories like we were saying earlier. So I think that's probably a good place to wrap it up here. It is starting to rain a little heavier now. I'm making more videos on the Fimi Palm. The next one is going to be on its low light capabilities and just seeing how good it is, and I'll compare it to a few other related camera setups that I think are relevant, just so you guys can see and compare it. And until next time, guys, as always,